to go to today's theme. It's movement. Thinking about it, I was like, movement. You can have a physical movement, of course, physical moving, or a group that is changing the world, changing a movement that is moving forward to something new. But I decided to talk to Russ. I've been training with Russ when I was Sea Gods, when I was dragon boating, and he's very knowledgeable in this space, and he is happy to share his story with us today. So I want a big round of applause for Russ Eathorne.
Furniture, which is functional design furniture. So what I do is I teach people how to move functionally. So I think that's maybe we can do a little collaboration on the furniture and movement. So what we're going to learn today is a very quick way of keeping your body functional, keeping it moving, almost like a sort of daily floss that you can do in about 5 minutes. There are quite a few sea gods in the room today, I think about 3 or 4. So you would have seen a lot of what I'm hopefully going to teach you to do, encourage you to do as a daily practice. But the other aspect that was the brief for me was inspiration. Okay, what's inspiration? What inspiration is for me? What are these creative types get inspired by? We have this on our name tags today. And for me, inspiration is breath. So if you can put one hand on your belly now, one hand on your chest, and all you're going to do is something that you do a lot, is just take a big breath in and out. Let's do that 2 more times. Breathe in. Exhale. Let's make this last exhale really long. Okay, so the question for you, you don't have to yell it out. Some of you probably like to yell it out. Which hand moved first? Belly? Okay, then just raise your hand if your belly hand moved first. Right, so that's 50% of you. Okay. That's good. Now, contrary to what Gordon has said, which is not the first time we've had contradictory thoughts over the years, Gordon, I'm all about finding cues of safety. And cues of safety make you calm. So when you breathe through your belly first, you're diaphragmatically breathing, physiologically that makes you calm. If you breathe through your chest, you probably breathe through your mouth, and it's like you're running from a lion or a tiger, and that makes you stressed and anxious. Kind of like how I was about 5 minutes before coming on. All these people are coming up and it's all getting really exciting, which is actually a natural psychological performance anxiety. It's just called an inverted tick theory. So if you breathe through your nose and you breathe through your diaphragm first, so let's all do that now. So when you inhale, it should be, and then exhale. And a long exhale, like a sigh, makes you calm. And when you're calm, your brain is in a state which it can be creative. Now we have someone here who does a lot of creative improv stuff, and you see what she got up to. She's got a lot of nice energy and calmness. So what I'm saying is, if you breathe like that and you're a creative type, you're going to be more creative during the day. You'll be able to solve problems a lot easier. I have this, and I'm going to try and do this while holding the microphone to my chin. If you're breathing and you're always running away from safety, if you're feeling danger all the time, your brain starts to shut down. So let's do this activity here. That's why I do this with all my athletes who start their problem with choking. You know what choking is? They think too much. So do this activity. So make a little pyramid here, and then bring that to your eyes, and look at me. And what can you see? What can you see of me? Very little, very little. It's because you're over-focused, and that's what happens when you're in a state of danger. Now, consequently, so they choke and they poor perform, okay? And we all do it. Then, if you open and then you look through here, what can you see of me? You can see everything. So that's a closed mind that's constantly running away from safety. This is an open mind that's found safety or finding cues. So we want to teach people to find cues of safety. When you're in a safe place, it's in your office, you've got your plants, you've got your art, or you're waiting for a quiet time in the day where you can be creative. That's the place of being calm. So breath does that. And there's hundreds of ways of doing breath work. Now, so I encourage you to get up in the morning and do some sort of breath work. It could just be, I'll just do another one exercise. So if you just watch here, in through my belly, and then out through my ribs, and then in through my chest, and then out through my chest, out through my ribs, out through the belly. And you can do that for as long as you like, I would say, a couple of minutes. Just even on the bus or on the ferry, on your commute, and that'll bring you into a state of calmness. As any other practice. Or if you're in a place where you need to be creative, do that, be calm. So the second part that I want to talk about is movement. Now, what Mark was saying about movement is not just moving your body, but it's being part of a group like this CreativeMornings group, which is, it's quite an exciting sort of energy in this room, or the Sea Gods, which I've been part of for 15 years, and I've seen the development of the culture of that, and it's a really good, people have got married, they've had kids. In fact, there's some person in here who's just had a kid, who's met his partner up the back there. This is Molly, and others. So being part of a movement is really important about being safe and having a sense of belonging. And so I just want to touch on that aspect of movement. But now what I want to do is get you up and moving. We need a bit of space. But before we do that, I'm going to give a quick demonstration. Has anyone got a stopwatch handy? On your phone. Alright. So I'm going to give a demonstration of what you're going to do, but you won't be able to do it as fast as me, so I've been doing it for many years. Can you hold that? Yeah. Okay. So this is what I'm going to teach you to do this. So you tell me 3, 2, 1. And no, you're going to time how long it takes me to do what I'm going to teach everyone to do.
3, 2, 1.
Stop.
15 and a
Oh,
half
that was 24 seconds the other day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're getting better at it, Ross.
Yeah, that's good practice. A little bit of nervous energy. Alright, so I don't expect you to do that in 13 seconds, but that's what we're going to do now, and I'll talk you through it. What I'm going to encourage you to do is learn it and do it for 5 minutes a day, however many times it takes you to go through that. Okay, so let's get a space. You need about this much space.
So we do this in 2 stages. If you have any empty cups, you can give them to me. I can throw them out or take them out of the way. And then I'm going to ask everyone on a chair to take your chair and put it forward 2 steps to create some space for people behind you. So the chairs, let's move them forward a little bit. And I'll take empty cups as well.
I should get all the seagulls up front. No pressure.
Chairs out of the way works as well.
So I think it's important to say, in terms of cues of safety, that there's no pass or fail here, it just is. And we want to start off with about 60% of what you're doing. Obviously, not really wearing gym gear. So it's just go to where you think is safe for you. So let's start off with your feet are hip width apart, your arms up in the air, both arms up. Okay, and then, all right, I'll stand in the middle here. This is the uncomfortable place. I'll be uncomfortable for you. So we're just going to squat down as best you can. We're not going to put too many balls on there. Up the squat, there's a few creaks. I've got a few creaks in my body as well. And okay, so just this is the squat. Now, what are we aiming for? Well, we are aiming for heels on the ground. Okay. Now, for me, movement expresses your spirit, it expresses your joie de vivre, your energy, and how you move is an indication of what you do in your life. If you design functional furniture, or if you just sit all day, or anything like that. So, round about now, a lot of you are probably thinking, man, how long are we going to stay in this squat? So let's get out of the squat. You put your fingers on your toes, and then you bend your head down as if you're trying to touch you want to touch your toes. So a forward bend. Okay, from here, so you feel your hamstrings. This is going to carry over to how well you deadlift, how well you put your luggage onto the carousel, which is starting to happen more and more. Okay, and now what you can do is roll up vertebra by vertebra, see how well your spine articulates. Is there no pain? I hope no one's got any pain. Didn't do any waver at the beginning. So next we move back into, well, if you know yoga, it's the warrior one position. I teach it slightly different from the yoga, but we definitely want both arms up. Lift your ribcage up, extend backwards, look backwards, keep your back leg straight. And then what you want to do while you're doing these poses is just feel how your body is for today. Where's my tight bits? I see that. Now we're just going to pivot. You don't do this in yoga, we're just pivoting. And we just go to the other side. So I'm not a yoga instructor, by the way, but I think this system is really good. It's been around for a while. Okay, and then you're just going to say, well, is this side tighter than the other? Do I feel it differently in my body? You may feel it in if your elbows are bending, you might think, oh, my lats are a bit tight. I think I've been at the keyboard a bit long, I need to stretch them. You might have an impingement in your shoulder if you're a drag motor. Okay, and then from there, maybe it'd be easier if you turn around and again turn around, and then I'll go into this warrior 2 position where you bend the front knee, turn your foot out, and leg straight. Okay, so this is probably, usually this is the easiest pose for people to do. Okay, and then we come across again and we pivot to the other side. Okay, and then you can put your arms out straight and look along your arm. Okay. And then the last pose is the most difficult pose. So if you've had trouble touching your toes, you're going to have trouble doing this one. So straighten both legs. This is a revolve triangle. If my left leg is forward, in fact it's easier for me to teach it. Oh, everyone's got their left leg forward. Take the right arm and twist that so it touches your left thigh. And then you slowly keep your legs straight, slide down your thigh until you can keep your back straight. Oh. How many times a day do I hear people make those noises? In my work capacity, yes. Okay. And then back over to the other side. Try teaching the seagulls for 15 years. Okay. Right, so this is the most complex one. It has the most joints, the revolve triangle. Okay, so we won't stay there for too long. So then come back to start. Now, by the way, Mark, I'm not looking at time, so
I'll have a look.
all right, so we want to do that because I really want to teach you this, but I will. There'll be we can get some sort of handout with YouTube videos, self-done YouTube videos, not up to the quality of Smalley, of course, but anyway. So let's go through. Let's just go squat. Just hit the point. Just flirt with it. Put your hands on your toes straight. Your legs roll up. So we just really want to flirt with it. If you've been to any of the parks in Hong Kong, you see the Tai Chi. So we want to sort of do a flow like the Tai Chi. Okay, take a step back to the warrior one. Just find a little stretch, like a 5 out of 10 stretch sensation. And then just pivot, go to the other side. Flirt with that stretch, just flirt with it. And then just change back foot and change your arm position into warrior 2. And then pivot to the other side. Just hit the point. Straighten both legs. Rotate. Involve triangle. Hit the point. Come up. Circle the arm around. Other side. Okay, flirt. And then come together. Bring it together. That's 2. By the way, I didn't say this at the beginning. We're going to do this 5 times. On the 5th time, I'm not going to speak or demonstrate. You have to remember. Now, at this point here, all your anxiety has gone up, so you need to take one of those long breaths. Okay, so let's go. What have we got? Squat, forward bend, roll up, step back, warrior 1, pivot to the other side, warrior 1, go into the warrior 2, arms out wide, pivot to the other side, straighten both legs, rotate, go down, just hit the 5 out of 10, come back, pivot to the other side. So this is 3, come back, bring it together, start again. This is 4, go. Alright, everyone's got the squat. Everyone's got the forward bend, wonderful, step back. As soon as you hit the point, go to the other one, just a little flirt. It's like flossing your teeth. We're doing functional movement. Warrior 2, alright, you guys are good. You're all obviously calm and receptive to flow and improv. Warrior 3. Not warrior 3, revolve triangle. That's a different sequence. That's in the bonus part which I'll give you. Alright, so I said so that's 4 times. And you pretty much hit it all by yourself. So let's go. Right, I'm not going to say anything on this one. Okay, well done. That's quite impressive. Now, so I've been teaching this sequence since about 2016, and like 90% of my clients, so when they come in and see me, I say, okay, warm up, and they do that. We have other ones, which is one that I teach the Dragon Boaters. It's like a 10-minute version, which incorporates this, but usually the 5th one, you have to help them a little bit. So you guys were on the 4th one, you're all pretty good. And then over time, there becomes some variations. And there were some variations in there, but it's not a put, it's not a pass or fail. I think what's most important is that you are moving your body in what's called functional movement patterns, which is a squat, a bend. This is kind of a push. It's like a push in Olympic lifting. And then this is kind of like a pull. You pull like this, and then we have a twist. And also there's a lunge in there. So they're functional movement patterns. So what I'm going to encourage you to do in terms of movement is do that every day. Don't worry if you miss a day. Because that becomes the search for perfection, which is actually choking. So just do it. I would encourage you, of course, to do it as a daily practice with your breathing, and then you'll get your movement juices working. You're creating circulation. You're creating some balance rather than being fixed in this computer spot with the mouse or whatever like that. And then that will just keep your mind being open and calm and receptive to trusting your intuition and your experience to be creative. So how are we going for time? Is it
You got 5 more minutes?
Q&As?
We can do Q&A.
Or
First,
we-
big round of applause for Russ.
Should I just hand it to Gordon?
No. Yeah, any questions? Questions? In the meantime, so Russ, what have you been doing in the last 20 years? Tell us a little bit more about how did you get where you are?
How did you...
They can think of a question.
All right. I was at Anzac Day, I'm in New Zealand, Anzac Day on Tuesday, and I bumped into actually an old boss who works for the Chamber of Commerce, and she said, oh, I've been thinking about you a lot, but I don't have your number. I do a weekly profile. Would you do one? I said, yeah, okay. So it had those questions in there.
Okay.
All right, so I've been doing movement for 30 years, and prior to that I was coaching elite gymnastics, junior gymnastics. I was a gymnast, played Premier Rugby, I've done dragon boating, I've done outreach, I've done the dragon run ski, I've done ultra marathon races, but I've also done a lot of study in functional fitness, corrective exercise. So I would specialise in functional fitness and corrective exercise, and also high performance. So I train Rex So, if any of you have been to boxing for the last 6 or 7 years, he's a high profile athlete. I train a jockey, which I can't really tell you his name until he retires. But I can tell you one thing about the jockeys is they have to be phenomenally fit. You just think they just ride on a horse, but there is so much training goes on and so much pressure. In fact, we do a lot of mind work as well, sports psychology. We've been working with the Hong Kong Olympic sailing team on sports psychology. But one of the aspects, going back to the jockey and also the sailing, is that they tend to overthink. So I use that analogy a lot to this, that when the shit hits the fan, they choke. So what we're aiming to do, what I'm aiming to do, is free their mind from that. That takes experience and trust in yourself, trust in your intuition, that the answer's going to come, or the tactic is going to unfold, especially for the jockey. So that are the type of things that I've been doing. I'm sort of moving more into the mental side of things, sort of being calm under pressure by removing the pressure. Getting people to focus on the task at hand, not on the result, that's the number one reason that people choke.
Okay.
Reasonable brief.
Over here.
Yeah.
So Russ, you obviously work with a lot of people who are already active in their day-to-day life. But have you ever worked with people? So I'm thinking of getting my parents into some resistance training. They're healthy, but they've never done that type of work before, and I think they could really it could really benefit them from building a bit more strength and muscle. Like, what kind of approach would you go with them for someone who's never really trained with resistance training before, and they're like getting a bit up in terms of age?
Slowly catch on.
Yeah.
You go into any of these commercial gyms, they're not really places of safety. They're quite intimidating. I get intimidated when I go to gyms. And I've been going to them for many years. Get all this equipment and people walking around, and some people walking around with not much clothes, and all this stuff. And, so I would think about how threatening it is to be. It's good to be out of the comfort zone, Gordon, for sure. That's where growth happens, don't get me wrong. But in a place like that, slowly. So I would start with body weight movement. Perhaps a yoga class or perhaps Pilates, but just definitely in a non-threatening environment, and just gradually progress them up. What you want to develop is the habit and consistency, as opposed to rip, shit and bust, which is what most people do. New Year's, they go to the gym for 2 weeks and then they hurt themselves so much because they're I've got to get my value for money, I've got to do this for it. And they walk around for pain for 2 weeks and say, this can't be right, and go back to nonsense and nothing. So just take it easy and get them to enjoy it. One of my pillars that I teach is enjoy regular and varied exercise. So you heard what I talk about the sports I do. I like to sort of pick a sport for a year and do that, and then move on, try something else. But enjoy is the number one. In fact, talk about the jockey. The last thing I say to him after every training session before his race days is enjoy. So that's the word that I want. Because to me, that's creativity. If you're in a state of joy, or you can smile under pressure, then you're relaxed and you're more open. I do train people who are overweight and injured and all this, not just all, you always speak about the pinnacle people, but I do train normal people.
Does anyone else have, we have time for one more question?
I love the workshop. Thanks for speaking today. I'm really interested in functional movement and especially mind-body connection. I love you bring the two together. Curious who some of your inspirations are, what you learned from in the last several years. That might be some resources that we could look at for growing in that way in our
Right, I've been coached by Olympic gold medalist coaches. There's one guy called Marco Sakamoto who was in 1985. We had a national gymnastics squad, and he came over in 1984. He was the American coach, and they won the Olympic gold medal in the teams. I found him to be a very inspirational guy, just quiet spoken. All those scary gymnastic coaches or rugby coaches. I'm not sure if he just quite. So what he used to do is he used to do a push-up or a handstand push-up, something incredible, for every year that he's been on the planet. So he was 48 at the time, 1985. That struck me. But I think by far my greatest influence in terms of functional fitness is a guy called Paul Check out of the Check Institute in the United States, in Encinitas, California. So I followed his system all the way through, and by far that's the greatest impact. There's a guy who wrote a book, which you would like the title of, and it's called Play As If Your Life Depends on It. Yeah, and it's a wonderful book. It's just like, wow, this is the most inspirational book I've read by a guy called Frank Forenchich, and he's also out of America, but I think that is one of the best books I've read on movement, because it's the opposite of all clinical movement, focus on training programs. It's be a bit more open and have variety and have fun and don't overtrain and these sort of things. I think start there. One's some more clinical, but also has a lot of holistic mind-body connection in there as well. And then the Frank Forenchich, he's sort of a bit more open rather than a rigid, A to B. It's A to Z. And enjoy your travels or journey on the way to 20.
And of course, I'd like to add his Instagram account, plus Eathorne.
Yeah.
I will ask you for the exact names, and you mentioned the book, and I'll share that in the WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
But first, a big round of applause for Russ.